Consulting Conversations with Kris and Katie. I am Katie McNamee, founder of Elevate. I'm here today with Kris Taylor of Evergreen Leadership, and we have come together as Leap to talk to you about how you can get out of the sales dead zone. So Kris, first, why don't we explain what is the sales dead zone? Why do you want to get out of it?
Yeah, you don't want to be here. And I've been here many times. The sales dead zone is when you start to have promising conversations with a potential sale, with a potential client. And maybe it's the first one, or maybe it's the 10th one, but you get to a place where all of a sudden the sale seems to have screeched to a halt. And things have slowed down, you're not having conversations, and you're not sure what the next step is. And when you're not sure about where you are or what you should do, you kind of get nervous. You go, should I email them again or call them? And am I being a pest? Or am I being too obscure? You know, you get in this place of not knowing what to do. But there's one surefire way to avoid the dead zone. So Katie, talk to us about how you get out of it, like not even how you get out of it, how you avoid it in the first place.
Yes, that's the key, right? You don't want to get in there. So how is it you
avoid it?
Yeah, completely detour the dead zone. So our recommendation is to always identify the next step. And that will look differently depending on where you are in the sales conversation. But we think that from that very first call that you have with a potential client, work with them to identify what action needs to take place next, put some sort of deadline-ish associated with it. And then that way you will continue to keep the process moving along no matter what, because it's clear to both parties, how is it like that this should continue to advance? How do we keep this moving forward together? So Kris, can you give an example, like with Evergreen Leadership, how you do this?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, but one way that's extraordinarily common is I've had a meeting with somebody, whether we're even to the proposal place or just talking about it, is I'll say, sounds like we need to meet again. When would you like that to be? Could I get that on our schedules? And is there somebody else that we'd like to invite into the conversation? Because oftentimes there's just another person or two that need to weigh into the conversation. So noting that a meeting would be a good next step, asking them the timing and if other people, and then I like to retain control and saying, let me put that on our calendars, or even say, let's pull up our calendars right now and get it on both of our calendars. But that's not the only way. There's probably 5 or 6 ways to do this, but share with everyone what's one that you use, Katie.
Yeah, so if I'm several calls in, or even just a couple calls in, and we've started to talk and I've started to identify some of the needs of the client and see a pretty clear picture of how it is that we might work together, I put together what I call a sample proposal with their approval. Just say, it sounds like you're really interested. It sounds like there's a lot of synergy and that it would be worth it to work together. Let me put together a sample of what working together could look like, and then I will get feedback from you, or we will meet on this date to discuss it and then see what the next steps are. So it starts to invite that collaborative process of figuring out what working together will look like. And then usually there is a date associated with when is it that we're actually going to discuss this together.
You know, one of the things that it took me a long time, I started my business in 2004, to learn how to do was how to do the sales part of it. I've gotten better. This idea of taking the next step or not leaving without the next step identified is a great example of how I've avoided that dead zone. But I spent many years working with different potential clients in the dead zone. So there's lots of different ways. And it's one of the things that we get excited about at Leap is that we help you figure that out. In fact, there's probably 5 or 6 different ways to avoid the dead zone. If you want to learn how, we've made it easy. We cover that in the sales part of our launch series, and you can learn more about it here.